when you meet anybody, have no agenda except to make them feel good about themselves.
Welcome back, Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Fred Joyal here from Los Angeles, and appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Excited to be here, Nate.
Absolutely. Championship Leadership, that's the name of the podcast. What comes to mind for you? What does championship leadership mean to you when you hear it?
It means that your role, or let's put it in terms of how I see it. My role is to see more in people than they see in themselves, and grow them and push them and give them opportunities. And my reward is twofold, is that I get to watch them become who they didn't know they could be, and they help me build a great company or a great organization. They help us collectively to achieve, great impact, significant in place on the marketplace.
Yeah. I love that. Well, why don't we get into that a little bit about what it is that you do and kind of the path and journey you've been on, and for the listener that isn't super familiar with you, and what it is you're up to today.
So I knocked around doing various jobs until I discovered the advertising world. And that's when I knew, and that took me, till I was almost 30. But I said, these are my people. This is, I could do this and not go insane. But then I also saw the career arc in advertising and realized I had to own my own business. So I was fortunate enough to be able to start a company called 1-800-Dentist back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And my partner and I grew it to a business doing $50 million a year. And then eventually it faded, a phone number became less and less meaningful. And but we had about a 26, 27 year good run. And then we sold it in decline. But we had 250 employees, and it was a great life. It was a great business and a great life. Then I started consulting. I took some time and wrote a book that I'm very passionate about, which is teaches how to cultivate the superpower of boldness. Because I grew up as an incredibly shy person, and I had to work hard to defeat that. And so I thought, I can teach this. I can teach people to do this much quicker than I did. So I put that book out, which is called Superbold, from underconfident to charismatic in 90 days. And so I've been working a lot on speaking about that and promoting that book and doing workshops on it. And about a month ago, I got hired as a CEO for this startup, which is a video testimonial platform. And I'm getting to build another business, which is really thrilling, to not make the same mistakes I made the first time, and build something I think could be even bigger. So that's the arc right now.
I love it. Well, that's an incredible story, and I love the book. If you're watching, you can see it right behind his probably right shoulder, I think. But and I can relate to that because I was a pretty shy kid myself, and there's times where I could definitely be more bold in what I do. So I'll have to check that out. But who are some of the championship leaders that have impacted your world, and coaches, mentors that you might have had, and what are some characteristics of those people that have really stood out to you and maybe have helped mold who you are as a leader?
The first person was really a man named Robert D, who became like a second father to me in my teenage years and afterwards, when my parents were breaking up and my dad and I didn't have a good relationship. And he taught me how to be a gentleman. He taught me how to sell as well, and he taught me how to have character. My dad, was a very good man, and so it wasn't like I didn't have any integrity from my dad, but I really learned it from Robert. And then the next big one was when I wanted to get into advertising, and I met the general manager of this agency, and he was married to a woman that I knew that I had met a couple of times. And I said, I really want to get into advertising. Can I have a job? And he said, no. He said, you don't know how to write advertising. He said, you need to go to this school at night, which is taught by creative directors, and learn how to write advertising. Probably going to take you 6 months, but then you'll know what you're doing. And that was so great because he didn't like plug me into a job I wasn't capable of because I was a friend of his. He said, you're not ready. And it was like probably the first time in my life somebody really said, go get ready before I give you an opportunity. And that made all the difference because that school taught me how to write advertising, from which all of my abundant life has flowed. And then, the most recently is getting to meet and spend time with Sir Richard Branson, who is probably the business leader I admire most in the world.
Yeah.
As much for his marketing and business skills as his, playfulness and generous spirit. I am constantly looking at his life and saying, that's the path. So those are the people that have really guided me.
Awesome. Sounds like some great people to have in your life for sure. So what's, when I think championship leadership, I think big part of that is vision. So what is the vision for you? I know an author and a speaker and consultant. Now you have this new role with a startup as a CEO again, to get back into helping to build a company. What's the vision for you? And more importantly, like what's the impact you're looking to make, maybe short-term, next 5 to 10 years of your life, professionally?
Well, the personality wise, I can't resist riding 2 logs down a river at the same time, one foot on each.
Right.
The deal I made with this CEO position with True Blue Social Smiles is I have to keep working on Superbold because I am so passionate about helping people to seize life, to not stack up their regrets. And that's what happens when you're not bold. When you hesitate, most people have what I call situational boldness, where they're bold in all sorts of situations. They're completely comfortable and confident. But then there's others where they're not, and everybody has different ones. But a lot of them have public speaking in front of people, meeting people. And meeting people is probably the most important business skill that you can have, along with being able to speak comfortably in front of people. Those 2 things are the difference between success and failure in my mind in business. So I can teach somebody from wherever they are to wherever they want to get. And so my goal is to teach boldness to as many people as possible so that they're out there trying to make a difference in the world, trying to solve bigger problems than they thought they could solve. Because we got big problems. We need people who think, I can fix this. I can create a business that does this. I have a potential answer, and I'm going to be crazy enough to try it. And so I'm very passionate about creating a movement about boldness. And I really am excited about building this business, this video testimonial business, just because it's a great product. It's the next phase of my career, because I am known as the marketing guy in the dental industry. And I've written a couple of books on that for the industry. And so everybody's coming to me saying, what's next? And this is what's next.
Well, sounds like the CEO position, video testimonials, that fits well into the message of being bold as well. Right. So,
yes.
What's like a critical moment for you? The listener today may be in a place where they're kind of in that fork in the road and trying to decide, make a big decision. And you're just unsure which way to go. And, you made the decision that you did at that time that has you where you are today, but had you not, you'd be in a very different place. Is there example you could share with us?
Yeah. So there was that moment when I was working in the ad agency and I was starting to make good money, but I saw the career arc, which was you swoop up in earning until you're about 45 or 50, and then it falls off a cliff. You
Yeah.
get laid off, and then you're lucky to get a fifth of what you were making, and you never recover from
Mm-hmm.
that. And I saw that, and I said, I was watching it happen to people working in my own agency, and I said, wow, I could get sucked into this, get the golden handcuffs, or I gotta step off. I gotta, start my own business without ever having run a business. And it was evident, by the way, my partner Gary and I ran the business, that we had never run a business. And we had to create every aspect of the business. There was no template. It wasn't like we opened a restaurant and there was a playbook. We were inventing a call center, a call script, the sales script, a media buying business, a sales organization, a customer service organization. We had to do everything, and with no money. We had $30,000. We had from our family. That was it. Mm-hmm. So we had to figure out how to keep cash flowing month by month as we grew the business, and it was easily 2 years before we were profitable. Like somewhere around 2.5, it broke through, and we went, oh, okay, this thing will actually make money. And because you don't know, you don't know if the marketplace gives a shit, right? You can think all day long, oh, everybody's gonna love this. Well, maybe it's just you who loves it. But you can't be afraid of it failing, because what's going to happen is there will be failure within the success of the business. There'll be things you do wrong that you have to fix. We had a whole business structure that we had to abandon once we had 100 dentists participating. It just didn't work as the growth model. It wasn't scalable. And that was brought us to the edge, trying to revise the business model. But the thrill of it was we were just going to show up every day and figure it out. Mm-hmm. And we had each other that we trusted to try to figure it out together. And that was important. And we still are great partners. A lot of people, the partnership goes down the drain over money, but money was never the number one priority. A great place to work was the number one priority for us. That's what we had. We had worked at bad places. We had bad bosses. We didn't want to be those, and we didn't want to create that. And because of it, we created a phenomenal culture. My last month at work, I celebrated 3 25-year employees. And in this day and age, that's incredibly rare. These people had given me their entire adult lives working for me, and my abundant life was because of people like them. So that's what we do. So do what you're afraid of. A friend of mine uses find joy in failure is how he puts it, which I think is really great.
I love it.
Because I say, what you're afraid of or afraid of failing at means you have to really examine that. It means you really want to do it. Because if you're afraid of failing at it, it's because you really want it. This stuff that I'm not afraid of failing at because I don't want to do it. I don't want to start a chain of restaurants. I don't want to own a bar. Like I don't want to own a gym. I'm not worried about failing at that because that wouldn't excite me.
Yeah, exactly.
But that thing that you go like, oh, I really want to create, a dance studio for handicapped people, let's say.
Yeah.
But boy, that could really go wrong. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, as we wrap up here, if there's like one or two, and we've definitely, I think, already given the listener probably a few of these, but if there's one or two guiding principles that if they were to implement today would help move their life forward today, what would that be?
Well, first of all, understand that hesitation is what kills opportunity. And
Oh, like
so
that.
what you have to understand about building your confidence is people think, well, I'd be bolder if I were more confident. It's actually the opposite. Bold action builds your confidence. People
Yeah.
who do bold things aren't necessarily confident when they do it. They just go right into their discomfort zone,
Yeah.
knowing that even if it goes wrong, they're going to learn something. And they just go. And what happens is you create this positive feedback loop because you build your boldness muscle by trying stuff. So
Yeah.
step one is, if you're going to get good at business, you need to be able to talk to strangers. Talk to strangers every day.
Yeah.
Talk to a stranger every day. Do what I call a drive-by compliment to
Yeah.
people. Do it 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Love it.
And here's the key: when you meet anybody, have no agenda
Yeah.
except to make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
You don't
That's,
have anything to
yeah.
gain except when you do that, suddenly you realize how easy it is to connect with people, because your only agenda is connection, is to make them feel better about themselves, and not to network, not to recruit, not to do any of that stuff. Just start doing that every day and you'll start to build your boldness muscle. Then you got to read my book, figure out how to do everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the book for sure. So, well, that's a good segue. What is the best place for us to follow you and to get a hold of your books and your content and everything that you are up to?
So fredjoyal.com, Joyal. You can find out everything. My book's on Amazon. It's in Kindle and Audible and hardcover. There's also a YouTube channel with a bunch of stuff, but there's some lectures that you can watch on my website as well on boldness. And you can always book, like if you're trying to figure out what to do as a business person, you feel like you need to make a bold move, book 30 minutes with me. You can do it right there on my website, and we'll talk about your life and where you can maybe make a bold move and what's holding you back.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I appreciate your time. And so, yeah, if you're listening right now and you want to hear more incredible content from people like Fred Joyal, then please just stay right here and tune into the next episode. Fred, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Nate. It's been fun.